We're back again with another week of wonderful words of wisdom from Rabbi Benzaquen. I just have 5 or 6 words to say, but I want you to listen to them, actually listen, and see what you can do with it. Good things come to those who wait. Better things come to those who don't give up, and the best things come to those who believe. So take those words, put them in your heart and in your mind, and do something with them. And here's our wonderful Rabbi Benzaquen as words of wisdom.
Thank you. Again, what a pleasure to be able to say a few words of Torah on the Parashat Shavua, on the week portion of the Torah. We are now beginning not only a new chapter, a new book of the Torah. It's the 3rd book of the Torah, Leviticus, which deal with the work in the temple, the Kohanim, the Leviim, the priests, what they need to do, and the offering that people bring to the temple or to the sanctuary. After they volunteer to build the sanctuary, now was the time to bring it into fruition and into practice. And these are what the Torah begins, Perashat Vayikra. And first of all, it deals with what we call Korban Oleh Veyored. Korbanot, the offerings that are up and down. Why is it called up and down? Because they have different categories, these korbanot, because not everyone would bring the same thing. God in the Torah gives option to people according to their abilities. There is the korban, the offering that the wealthy person brings, and that korban is would bring from the animal, the cow or lamb, and that is the wealthy person. Then is the middle class that will bring a bird, Yonah, Toro, Yonah, this, a bird that qualifies to be offered up in the temple. And then there is the poor offering. And the poor man offering is Korban Mincha. It's made out of flour, oil, incense, and it is made through either an oven or a griddle or a frying pan with frankincense as well. It's this special kind of oil, and it was offered up. It's very interesting that the Torah tells us how the procedure of this offering, as far as the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and his children, what they are supposed to do. So what we call this Korban Olah, Korban Olah is a Holocaust offering, which means that is burnt completely, absolutely, as an offering in the altar, and is consumed in the Mizbeach, in the altar. That Korban, there is no portion that the Kohen will touch. Simply is offered up, and it goes up in smoke. And that is the first one, and also the bird. But when it comes to the poor man's offering, which is the flour, and made into a dough, made into like matzot, flat bread that they would have to consume it, the Torah says, beside the portion that it is taken from it, it's called kemitzah, which is through the hand, Kohen take a little bit, but the rest, the Kohen is supposed to eat the rest with all his children. Now, can you imagine what the good feeling of the offerer, the person, the poor person who is offering this offering to the temple, and the Kohen now is sitting and with his children, they are eating. He feels very good, proud of it. The question is, why is it that only this one is consumed by the Kohanim, by the priest and his children, and not the others? And the rabbis tell us, especially we see that one of the Rishonim, they tell us that the purpose is so that the Kohen should never feel for a moment that it is a humble offering. He should feel contempt for them. The Torah specifically wants this korban that the poor person brings to be considered important in the eyes of the Kohen and his children, not to feel contempt or despise it or just think that this is the humble, this is nothing practically, and therefore you are going to denigrate it. It's very important that this is. The question is, okay, that's very interesting, but would you think that the Kohen Gadol would think that way, that the Torah has to warn us, to tell us, don't feel contempt? Why should the Kohen Gadol and the children be contemptuous? If you or us, we make a kiddush, meaning somebody who is very poor makes a kiddush in the synagogue, and would everybody laugh at that, at the kiddush? On the contrary, they would feel that, look, he made the effort in spite of the fact that he cannot even afford it practically. He does. So why should the Torah even think that the Kohen would be contemptuous? And Baal HaTurim, some explain that he said this. He said, it's not because just in the mind of the Kohen Gadol he feel contemptuous and his children. On the contrary, it's because of the fact that the Kohen, he is such a holy person, and the Torah is telling the Kohen, who is so holy, because he's the holiest person that there is, the Kohen Gadol, and also all his children. Many times we might think for a moment to think askance as to what somebody offered, because he would rationalize and he say, you know what, because he's so holy, he thinks, you know, if this person would have had his son or his daughter with an accident and he would need to find a doctor, what would he do? Would he go and just go and go to the pharmacy, take anything and all that? He would get the most important care for his children. He said, now, because the Kohen feels that through his holiness, feel that there was a breach between a human being and God, and to repair that breach, he should have made all the effort to go and get the best thing, not just a flower offering. It should have been from the cattle, whatever. He would have had to borrow to do anything when he would have to get medication, the same thing. And God is saying to the Kohen Gadol, you might be right, but your business is to accept the offering and not to judge a person. Why does he do the way he does things? You cannot judge. That's not your business. The business of judgment is God who knows it all. So many times, in a way, the message is, for many times, we feel like we have a standard and we begin to judge everybody else according to our standard, and we don't give a minute to think what that person really are, the circumstances or no. We begin to judge. It's very, very important. From the Torah is telling us that even the Kohen Gadol, he can fall in this trap, that because of his holiness, he's going to think that to judge everybody else according to the way in his mind he feel it should be, this connection between a human being and God. And therefore, the Torah is telling us, don't judge people. Just what our business is to do our best, do whatever we do in the everyday life, bring holiness into it, and try to do more with other people as well. Whatever we do with other people is good and important and vital. Thank you.